My skin is black.
What you looking
My
at?
skin
Yeah,
is black.
I feel so good to be black right now.
Welcome to episode 90 of the Black in Fashion podcast. I cannot start any podcast without making sure I now introduce myself. I am Lenise Collier, the host of the Black in Fashion podcast. We are here to educate and create and promote black businesses, designers, talent, merchandisers, everything in the fashion world. So, of course, I can't start any episode without acknowledging my sponsors. Take Care Pop Up is an interactive pop up experience dedicated to normalizing luxury and self care in the lives of women of color. This interactive pop up experience will give you tips on self care, best practices, and have a curated pop up show featuring brands Cap Hill by Crystal Phillips, Chanel, China Vintage, Betty, and more. It's hosted on June 19th, 2021 from 12 to 6 at 815 Broadway. The event begins with an interactive sound bowl meditation experience, a discussion on self-care, best practices beyond hair, skin, and nails, and a conversation about normalizing luxury in the lives of women of color. Take Care is an all-day shopping event featuring women of color-owned businesses, live music by DJ Mad Out, small bites provided by Omar's Kitchen and Rum Bar, and open bar. The pop-up event will end with a performance by hip-hop artist Win. Come out and celebrate yourself for this Juneteenth experience. Also, our second sponsor is Chaos the Brand, which is a ready-to-wear apparel line for women who crave exclusivity. They take pride in creating fun, distinctive, and alluring pieces. Their motto in life is the occasion. Get up, get dressed, and live your best life every day. Use code HBI Chaos for 10% off your first purchase. So today I am joined with Cabri. Cabri, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, of course. Let me just kind of give you a little introduction. Cabri is from Greenville, South Carolina. She's a native who was known for her love of fashion since the age of 3. While in high school, she made history and started the very first fashion club. She was also a part of the Fashion Society in college. She obtained a degree in fashion merchandising and retail marketing from Johnson& Wales University in Charlotte, North Carolina campus, in which she introduced her to more of the business side of fashion. In both her undergrad and her postgrad years, she has been known not only for her style, but also for her creative eye in building fashion brands through social media. As she continues her journey in the world of fashion, she has taken on the task to make sure people of color are included and considered when it comes to fashion brands searching for talent and hiring in the corporate level. Wow, that seems like such an accomplishment. You go, girl.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. I appreciate you for reaching out and us even collaborating to do this podcast.
Yes,
All right,
I
so
am so honored to be here.
great. So I just had a little icebreaker before I kind of hop into the conversation. It's called This or That, and you just tell me which thing you prefer over the other, okay?
Okay.
All right, so are you a beret girl or a headband girl?
I would go with beret.
All right, are you a wedge girl or a mule girl?
Oh, that's kind of hard. I'm gonna go with a mule.
Mule.
I'm gonna go with a mule. That's hard though, but I'm gonna go with a mule.
It's always hard. Straight leg or flare leg?
Flare,
Flare. Um, Side boob or under boob?
side boob.
Side boob. That's always the kicker. Usually it's like, ooh, wait a minute. Let me think about it. All right. So, what made you choose a fashion merchandising as a major?
So I initially wanted to go to school for fashion design, but all of my mentors and like people in my family were just like, "Oh, like you should, do something on the business side." Like they really were against me going to school for fashion design
Mm-hmm.
so much. So I was like, "All right, to make everybody kind of happy, I was like, I'll do fashion merchandising and retail marketing."
Okay.
So that's really what made me. Other than that, I went to school for fashion design.
Gotcha. And tell me this: the school you went to is predominantly white. So, how was that experience? Being a black individual in that type of institution.
So I've always been in like predominantly white atmospheres for most of my life. So like high school and college. So I always sound like the black people. So they had, they had Fashion Society, which was predominantly black. And then they also had like a couple of clubs that were predominantly black as well. So there were black people there and we all stuck together. So if you were looking for them, you would know where they were because they were always like in a clique or in a group. So yeah, so it wasn't hard to like make friends or anything like that, but it wasn't set up for, black people to really, thrive as other students would.
Gotcha. And so that's what made you want to start the club too.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. I actually started an organization when I was in college. It was called FEMO, Fashion Elite Modeling Organization.
Okay.
Yeah, I started that when I was in college, and that's kind of like what you was just discussing. That's kind of how I felt. Like there was BSU, but there weren't a lot of organization when it came to fashion. And I started a modeling organization. I went to art school, so all of the arts can come and help and support one another. So a lot of the models in the organization were like the dance majors, and then when we did fashion shows, like our merchandising team and our merchandising. Majors and fashion business majors, they did like all of the prep and stuff. The fashion design majors did the clothing, but everything about the show was very black. And the organization was, a completely black executive board, and all of the members were black too. But I felt that same need, like we needed to have some type of inclusion that was just for us. Was it hard getting an organization started?
So the organization I started in high school, so the one in college, I didn't start that one, but I was a part of it. So the one in college, I was the model coach or like the creative assistant / lead or whatever. So I was always responsible for like, the models. But in high school, when I had to start the organization, it was kind of hard because you had to find like a teacher to sponsor you. You had to find like two teachers to sponsor you.
It's the same in
And then
college
you
too.
had, had to find sponsors, had to, you know, submit all this paperwork and submit like my mission and goals and things like that. And I was so like now I forgot about it. Actually, I forgot that I even did that. Because it's been so long ago, but I remember now, like I was so invested in just, um, changing everything, in that school just because, like I said, it was predominantly white. And so I created this club and we did stuff. Like we went to events. I scheduled events. I scheduled all kinds of things. So yeah, it was really fun. I don't know if they still have it going on or not because I think I started it my senior year. Yeah, I think it was my senior year. So I don't even know if they still got it going on, but that was something that I wanted to at least do before I left.
Absolutely. You gotta put your stamp somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, even
Yes,
if they didn't continue afterwards, you still did it. Do
exactly.
you feel like you faced, like, any obstacles, like, in your major, as far as, like, maybe being the only black girl in class? Like, did you feel any type of way about, like, treatment from, like, teachers or anything like that?
I would say that, so I went to a school that was, um, so they had other majors that were more popular. So for my major being fashion merchandising and retail marketing, um, like when it came down to like career fairs and stuff like that, they didn't really have too many like people that they would reach out to be at the career fair. When it came down to us looking for jobs or looking for internships for the fashion majors, so I had to go out and like find my own connections and network and things like that. They didn't cater to the fashion majors at all. And that's another thing that I'm on a mission to do as well, being that I have, gained a network and things like that. I do want to go back and at least offer that to them because, um, yeah, like they did not cater to us. The classes were fun. The classes were
The classes
fun.
was fun.
But that was it. Like my professors were cool. I didn't have any issues as far as like being the black girl in the class. Like I think I did. Um, I think I succeeded in class, but it just in terms of like, what are we going to do after this? Like, and it was mostly African Americans in those majors. So it was a sucky part about it. It's like, dang, what we gonna do after this?
Facts. True. Hold on, I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
I'm sorry. All
I'm
right, so tell
fine.
me a little bit about like some of the brands you've created through social media and like what that process entails.
So, on social media, I've worked with, a bunch of different brands. One being one of the first jobs I had was like I used to work for a athletic company, like athletic wear company.
Mm-hmm.
So creatively, I used to just curate content, and that process is pretty much like my favorite part. I would call myself a creative director. So, working with either models or me being the model, sometimes, just depending on like what resources we have. Sometimes I would be the model or we would have models, and just setting up the photo shoots and editing and captions, content, all of that whole process, and then also posting it on social media. That's pretty much what I do
Okay.
with working. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do when I work with brands. And if it's a product, I'll like do the product photography. I kind of got into that as well. So I do like product photography depending on, what the product is,
Mm-hmm.
set that up, staging products, setting those products up and editing them, and like I said, just curating the content, the captions, and writing up blogs to promote the content. So just literally everything. Like I hate when people ask me sometimes like what do I do, because it's just so hard. Like I'm just
But
a
that's
creative
merchandising.
person.
But that's merchandising though, because merchandising is
Yeah,
making sure you have the right product in the right place at the right time for the right price point. So that goes into what exactly merchandising is. So that content that you're creating is like making sure that it's visible to the people. You know what I mean? So like that makes sense. And like
yeah.
even the way that it is, of course, displayed, that that goes into merchandising, because that at the point is like it's drawing people in as well, and it's actually making people understand the mood, the vision, like the story that it tells. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because literally, I didn't even think of it like that. I think I just got to that point where I'm like, I actually am working in my major,
Mm-hmm.
because at first I felt like, oh, I went to school for no reason. But I do see myself now using stuff that I did learn while I was in college.
Absolutely.
But, initially I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm not doing anything in my major. Like, I'm just, whatever. But I'm glad you said that, because that is exactly what it is.
Yeah, and merchandising is also visual merchandising, and you putting together
Yep,
a set or you putting together clothing, like that's all visual merchandising. Like it's literally
absolutely.
the mood, the clothes, like the way the experience is supposed to be. So that makes sense. Um, wanted to ask you, what has your experience been with like retail? How has your experience been with like retail marketing? Do you feel like um, that people that you get more likes than you get sales? Like, are you on that side, like these brands that you're helping build up? Like, are you seeing that all of the work that you're putting out is equating to sales as well? Like, do you have access to that?
Yeah, so I personally feel like it's so hard to really gauge now. Just because like social media is just a a, a whole lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially Instagram, it's a beast. So I would say that I've seen success from, digital marketing for these brands. I've seen some success, but at the same time, I'm going to always tell clients that, word of mouth and just that organic building of relationships is going to be like your biggest seller. Because, so I don't really even focus on like generating sales per se. I focus on building real relationships with real people, so that eventually, like that's just planting a seed. Eventually, when they do buy, they will shop again and again and again just because of the relationship that they have with you. Because people who know you and feel like they have a relationship with you, they are a little bit more reluctant to shopping with you again. So, yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. So, what marketing strategy, if there's more than one, you're welcome to mention them. Do you think is the easiest and most efficient for maybe a new designer to implement?
Oh, mm. Can you ask that question again?
Yeah, what marketing strategy? Like, what is like the for like what is I guess like your go to tool for a new brand? Like, what is the one thing like right there when it comes to implementing a marketing strategy for a new brand? What is your go to? Like, is it like the rollout? Like how things are displayed on the website? Like, what's the most important factor for you?
Yeah, so I think for me, the most important factor is like having high quality um imagery, having like, and that being for website and for social media, like the visuals are probably going to be like the first thing that I think of to have as a necessity, because people, that's what people are going to see first. That's the first thing that they're going to see, and that's how they're going to, base whether they're going to shop, whether they're going to, look through more, see whatever. So having that content, having that visual content is going to be the first thing that I say, like, okay, this is a must have, which, now you have to actually create it and you have to put together like all the things that you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely feel like the visual content is the key when it's a new brand, because you're introducing them for the first time. Like nobody's seen it before. And I understand, the whole process of like, oh well, that we don't have any of this, or we don't have the budget for this or that. But if you really want to like make that imprint, make that first impression,
Mm-hmm.
definitely having high quality visuals, and video content is like the new thing right now. So definitely need some video content.
Gotcha. So you feel like it has to be both, like it has to be video and pictures, like it can't be like one over the other, like they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So when it comes to the four P's: product, price, place, and promotion, which do you think is the most important and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say product.
Okay.
Because if nobody wants that product, then it's kind of like a bust. Like, okay, it has to be something that is a demand. Like, people are actually looking for this, or people would be looking for this if they knew that it existed. So definitely product first.
Product is first. Yeah, I like that too. I think that I almost feel like that the price is not a big thing. Price, it just depends on the target consumer. But when it comes to making sure you have the right product, it also, you can have a bomb product, but if you don't know how to market it and put it out there correctly, then you're just
Yes.
sitting on an amazing product. So I feel like it can be like debatable whether product or promotion is the best way to go. But if you're not doing supply and demand. Like, yeah, you do create products to fill a niche. You do like create products to like solve a problem, and you can do all of those things. But if it's not received, then you just have a
Mhm.
product, you know. So
Yeah, that's
I
true.
feel like they kind of gotta go similar hand in hand, but you do have to make sure that the product is elite, and then I guess simultaneously. I ain't gonna, yeah, I'm gonna say simultaneously because you have to kind of figure it out simultaneously as well, so that everything
Yeah.
kind of works together.
Yeah, definitely. Because I always feel like, with product, that other question is like, how? Like, we have a product, but how are we going to get it out? So that's so true. Like, promotion is just as important as the product. It's so important. So, without a plan, you just, you failing.
Yeah, for sure. How do you I guess like find your clients and stuff too? Like are you like when it comes to like your company, are you super duper big on like social media, or is it like referral based, or how do you go about finding clients for yourself, and what is your ideal or typical client?
So, initially when I first got into, doing this, a lot of my clients were word of mouth, because, it's just me. And I actually got into doing digital marketing on accident. So it was like, it was just me. So every person that I had after that was like, oh, such and such does my marketing, such and such does my social media. And that's how I was getting clientele. And then I realized because it is just me, I can't take but a certain amount of clients at a time. Um, and I hated to, have a surplus where I can't cater to all of them in the same ways. So, so yeah, I didn't really have to go out there and be like, oh, I'm looking for I'm looking for this or I'm looking for that. I didn't have to really search clients out. It was really word of mouth. And my ideal client is the either the startup, fashion, or lifestyle brands. Um, so startup or medium sized company, it doesn't matter. But I do like working with people who just got started so that we can walk through everything together. And it's all fresh as opposed to like changing somebody's stuff up. Because I've worked with clients before and they've kind of already had like their foundational pieces that they didn't really want to get rid of. And, that's kind of hard when you're saying like a suggestion that you need to change this or you need to change that. And they give like that pushback, like, I don't really want to change this. I want you to just do.
Right.
So I do kind of look for like a startup, somebody who's fresh, somebody who doesn't really have like a foundation just yet on social media. So I can start from scratch.
Okay. So I guess, what is your number one tip or biggest tip for an emerging designer when they're coming out? A lot of times I feel like new designers are, they're investing a lot of money. They're doing a lot of different things. And
Hmm.
sometimes hiring someone like yourself to help them and aid them in there is something they think about afterwards, because I totally agree that they always think about product first and less about that marketing thing, and then like they're stuck trying to figure it out and like revamping and stuff like that. What would you say is your biggest piece of advice to maybe somebody who's trying to do this on their own and can't afford your services?
I would definitely tell them like don't wait to don't wait. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna wait to do anything. Like I'm gonna wait to share my products until I can afford someone else to come in and do my marketing." I would say not to wait. Even though I did say, the best thing to do is have high quality imagery, but at the same time, I wouldn't wait till you could afford that. Like I would go ahead and just start telling your story, sharing your journey. I would tell them to, put it all out there, because once you share and do all of that and get to the place where because you will get to that point where you can afford maybe somebody to come in and do the social media, somebody to come in and do your photography, somebody to come in and do all those things. So, but you can't build a rapport, without showing your journey. So I would definitely tell them to go ahead, start posting, definitely start sharing videos of you just behind the scenes, like just make it a thing. Because it is, and I appreciate brands like that where it's like,
They show
this is
you
a
the
real cut.
process.
Yeah, it's the process. So that way, when you can afford it, people can see the journey. And then if you want to, you can just go back and like delete all of it if you want. It really does. It's case by case what you want to do. But I definitely would tell them like just go ahead and get started, because I mean people are gonna rock with you if they like your product, whether you have high quality or not.
Absolutely, absolutely right. So, as we wrap up, I have one other segment. It's called It's a Muse. And It's a Muse segment is actually sponsored by Makara Modish. Join the Modish VIP Club at Makara's Modish, where you can get exclusive access to discounts, new drops before it hits the gram, and more. Add fashion to your look with one of a kind fashion accessories from Makara's Modish. Log on to shopmodish.com and use promo code Lenise in all caps for 10% off your first purchase, and follow on IG at Makara's Modish. Um, the It's a Muse segment is just something that you utilize to keep yourself, motivated, inspired. It could be a mantra, an affirmation, a book, a meditation, yoga, anything that you want to share with an entrepreneur, or just something that keeps you going.
Oh, I okay. Dang. So things that keep me motivated. I'm gonna share one person and then maybe a book or something like that. So one person that I always look up to and like always go searching like on their YouTube is Eric Thomas. That man is like the best of the best. Like he gives me like so much inspiration. He's a motivational speaker, and I would say that one thing that he says that always stands out to me is get something for your pain. So, like, the times that you are struggling, trying to get your business together, trying to get your life together, trying to get whatever you are working on to a place of like what you classify as success. Um, get something for your pain. Like that literally to me means like you're gonna go through all of this, so you might as well go through it. Get something in return for it. Like don't quit, don't stop. Like go all the way through it. Get something for the suffering that you had to go through. Get something for the late nights, for all the tears, all the blood, sweat, all of that. Like get something for your pain. So that's something that I live by and that I try to keep at the forefront of my head when I'm trying to like do something that I also want to give up.
Gotcha. I like that. That's dope. Okay, well, how can everybody connect with you, find you? You want to just throw out like your social media handles? I'll also have them listed in the show notes, of course, but let's go verbal.
Yes. Okay. So you can follow me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is K Monet Fierce. That is KMONAE Fierce. And then my business Instagram is kmonae.co. That's KMONAE.ko. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, it was
This
a
was so
pleasure.
fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. I hope to keep seeing you like grow different brands and emerging designers, and we need that. We need to always partner and work together as stylists, as digital marketing curators, as content creators, especially for Black brands to continue to get like that visibility. So the work you're doing is great.
Thank you so much.
No problem at all. Are you familiar with my other business, LC Apparel Consulting?
Yes, I mean, I definitely went through all your social
Oh,
media. So, yes, you are like such an inspiration to me. I did want to say that to you.
okay.
I like stalked all your Instagram pages. So yes,
That's so
I
cute.
look up to you. Yes,
Oh, thank you. I was gonna say you need to make sure you're hitting up like you. I think that for you and a nice pitch and stuff like that, especially as you grow your portfolio and you could, you continue to move this business, is to take advantage of all those people that we post that are new designers that may need that extra eye. Like, hey, I saw you on LC Apparel, so I noticed that you're a new business. I'd love to help you out and work with you and stuff like that. But that would be a good place, I think, for you to even get more clients. I know you want to keep it small, but that's all we have is emerging designers, like for the most part. So I
absolutely.
think you should definitely utilize, those tags and stuff like that, and reach out to those people and hit them with some proposals and even like what you feel like you see for their brand that maybe they would have missed, or if you like, I look at your social media and these are my comments just to give that feedback and give them a different perspective.
Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. Thank you for that. I'm
No
definitely
problem.
going to do that.
You should tell them I sent you.
I will. I will definitely tell them you sent me.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day and good luck to you in all your endeavors. And let's make sure we keep in contact, okay?
Absolutely.
All
You
right.
as well.
All right. Have a great day, love.
Awesome. Thank
All right.
you.
And as I always say, people, stay black. Peace out.
Short and sweet, right? Can you? Is it okay if it's still rolling? But like, I feel like this is a good, like, background or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about how?
Yeah, go ahead. It's okay.
Oh, can we talk about how visual merchandisers or merchandisers in general need designers and vice versa, like anything in that area?
Yeah. I think I said something about that. So,
Three,
um,
two.
so I definitely feel like the like visual designers, visual creators, like people that are content creators and not just like super duper like visionaries, including stylists in this mix too, should partner more with designers. I think that we really need each other in that space, and I feel like sometimes it's resistant because of budgeting, pricing, or even as a designer, like feeling like your vision is one thing, but when you work with people in other aspects and people who have worked with most of the different designers, they usually have a different point of view than maybe you did not see. And I think it's super duper important that in that space that we help one another opposed to working against. For me, I always feel like it's like if you call a designer a stylist, they get offended. If you tell us that a stylist think they're a designer, you just like, no, you're not a designer. So opposed to working against each other, I think we definitely need to work together in that space. For me, I never do my photo shoots. Ever. Because like, yeah, I can create and I can design and stuff like that, but as far as like the way I want my consumers to look at the products, you know, I might have a certain idea in my mind, and then someone else comes in and is like, actually this, and then their ideas are way better than mine, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we're helping each other and we're keeping everything together, and we're also helping each other in our portfolios and our way of thinking and stuff. So I think it's super duper important to make sure we incorporate one another, and not just incorporate each other on the back end, which I see a lot. Designers reach out to stylists, if they do, at the end of the process. And at the end of the process, everything's done, opposed to having to work with a stylist, a visionary, a creator in the beginning of your design process, where you guys can design or collaborate together to create something beautiful. And in this world, collaborations and partnerships in the fashion world will help bring a lot of the financial burden off of one person and make it a collaboration, and you guys can split those costs as you go on. So granted, you have a baby, and your design is your baby, and I just feel like that if we open up our minds to other creators and visionaries, that we can be more successful in this realm and honestly make a lot of money. And you have both people's following, you know, so like it just works out to me in the best favor. So definitely keep that in mind. That's just a little Black in fashion tip.